these holy days, particularly on ISKCON, which of course occurs many times in a year, in the cultivation of pure devotional service and consequent, of course, detachment from this world. So ISKCON is a very significant day for the Vaishnavas in their devotional practices. Although Srila Prabhupada didn't place perhaps as much emphasis on the performance of ISKCON Vrata as some may do, placing more emphasis upon Sankirtan Yajna and other services. Observance of ISKCON in different stages or different levels. For neophytes, ISKCON is very much a feast. We look forward to ISKCON for the prasadam. It was the best of the month in general. May not be, is another thing. Significant in terms of the feasting aspect nowadays, but still, generally speaking, prasadam is very opulent. The main thing on ISKCON Prabhupada would emphasize would be chanting and hearing, generally speaking. We're not here to fast, we're here to glorify Krishna. Fasting is not something, it's not a significant factor. It's not a particular factor of the pure devotional service. It may happen automatically because one has no time to eat. One has no time to sleep. It's not a service. So this song also emphasizes the performance of the various services. Particularly, Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes the importance of Vaishnava Seva in the first verse. Dust from the lotus feet of pure devotees is convenient to get the mercy of of other devotees to enhance their own spiritual advancement. They only want to reside in the Dham. They may create a Dham in one sense, wherever they are. And Dham being a suitable abode for the Lord to perform his pastimes. So whether we're in Paris or in London or wherever it may be, even if it's not directly in Vrindavan Dham, Mayapur Dham and so on, nonetheless, because Krishna is being worshipped according to the direction of the acharyas, Krishna accepts that worship. He's not obligated, because we're trying to worship Radha Paraseshwar and so on in the spirit that Srila Prabhupada established. Therefore, one's effect of one's deity worship is there because of the pure devotee. Otherwise, we have no real connection in the neophyte stage, other than through the pure devotees. So, to make that Dham, Shishi Radha Parasheshwara Dham, all those places where my Lord Gaurasundar revealed, or traveled rather, for pastimes I will visit in the company of loving devotees. It's parikrama. We're going for parikrama. Sometimes they will say, we're going for parikram. Parikram literally means, very hard work. Labor, hard labor. Parikrama, not parikram. Of course, you may think this is hard labor. Walking in the, on the stony paths in the boiling hot heat, and not being able to keep up with a party. Sometimes you arrive at the next destination and everyone else is just leaving. You say, where's this? I don't know, I didn't hear. And then you go forward. I was too tired to hear, I fell asleep. Sometimes that happens. It may seem sometimes like hard work also. Actually, going to those places where Krishna performs his pastimes, holy places. My mind is always begs for the opportunity to hear the music of the mridanga. Because mridanga is like the singing, everything cartels were sweetly performed, sweetly played, sweetly sung. Not some hollering, and some slamming on the drum like it's war dance or something. Congo. Mahavishnu Swami is in the Congo right now. And beat the drums. Boom, boom. And what they say, drums is a saying, famous saying. Drums, I don't know, somewhere in Africa. Congo or something. No, we're not beating it for passion, we're not beating it for attention, exactly. Maybe attention of Krishna, but primarily one is beating or playing mridanga for the pleasure of Krishna. So naturally one wants to play it in a way which is pleasing to Krishna. Same thing with singing, cooking, cleaning, worshipping the deity, performing Sankirtan Yajna, managing everything. Has the same basic principle for the pleasure of Krishna. All that one does is for his pleasure. Begs for the opportunity to hear the music of the mridanga. Upon hearing the kind of kirtan ordained by Lord Gaurachandra, my heart dances in ecstasy as to that kirtan given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not just a wild dance. Sometimes we see him. Of course, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very merciful. The devotees are very merciful, knowing that it's like babies when they start to walk or dance, they may behave rather peculiarly. So sometimes we dance in rather peculiar ways. I remember watching a video of a kirtan in West Africa one time. I've never been to West Africa. I've been to East Africa, South Africa, but not West. And it was definitely very peculiar. It looked like, two sides of the temple room were like two warring parties getting ready to attack each other, literally. Going at each other like this, and then boom, 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 boom. And it's like enthusiastic in that sense of the word. But I'm sure that Lord Chaitanya, seeing that persons of various cultures, various places, with their various conditionings, connecting with Krishna is very pleasing, even if it's not, let's say, so graceful, so with the same mood of sweetness, or that which is ordained by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although we see sometimes in the kirtan of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's kirtan, it gets out of control, completely out of control. But that's spontaneous. It's not a exhibition of one's strength or of passion or something. As neophytes, beginners, sometimes this is the case, and even some of our most conservative devotees in our movement in terms of kirtan, I don't know if that's the right word, but quite, let's say, rigid and a little strict, or maybe not on others, but on themselves at least, in kirtan, have gone through their stages. Probably one of the wildest kirtan devotees in our movement, Hari Sori Prabhu, in his heyday. But he's not overly strict, you could say, but quite conservative. But particularly Bhakti Vikas Swami in his I don't know if you call it heyday, but in his earlier days, was quite wild in kirtan. And I'm not going to mention some of the things he'd do in case you try to imitate them here in London. Overboard. They're quite wild devotees, flying off the top of verandas into big buckets of dye and things like this, and coming out blue, and all kinds of things which he would relish to do. And we were kids back then. There's a nice song by Mangalananda Prabhu. We were kids back then, just looking for the bliss. A ragtag band of transcendentalists. And it goes on. It's quite appropriate description of the situation of the thing is, it's the same basic, say, emotions and sentiments when people join the movement. Maybe not so prominent because most of the people who join our movement now are perhaps not so alive in some ways, or they're coming from more cultured backgrounds. Most of the devotees who joined in the 60s and early 70s were kind of in the mood of revolution, and quite wild in many ways. Sometimes due to the assistance of various substances which aided in their expressions, etc. But otherwise ordained by Lord Gaurachandra. And then the heart dancing in ecstasy. Not just dancing, what we call dancing in ecstasy, but the heart dancing in ecstasy. By beholding the deity forms of the divine couple, Shri Radha Krishna, I feel the greatest joy by beholding them. Means having, say, the mercy of them giving us their darshan and capturing that darshan in one's heart. And it's not just, they look nice today, I like blue and purple, that's really nice. Well, that's really nice decorations on their face, They're really pretty. That's good, certainly a good start, but devotee sees beyond pure devotee, perhaps just beyond the external devotion, the efforts to decorate the Lord as lovingly as we can. He sees beyond that the manifestation of the Lord's unlimited qualities. I feel the greatest joy. By honoring the Lord's prasadam, I conquer over all worldly illusions. We heard about Bhakta Greedy doing that the other day. Goloka Vrindavan appears in my home whenever I see the worship of and service of Lord Hari going on there. It feels like he's in Goloka Vrindavan, even in the home. You don't have to go all the way to India, which is good to do that too, but you don't have to. Pure devotees, they're experiencing Goloka Vrindavan wherever they are, seeing the, let's say, that spirit of loving exchange, wherever they are, seeing or feeling Krishna's loving embrace wherever they are. Upon seeing the Ganges, which is a river of nectar emanating from the lotus feet of the Lord, my happiness knows no bounds. Well, we may not have the Ganges here in Paris, but we have the River Seine. So they're all connected in one sense, of course, through the connection with the ocean. Every living entity is connected. It's just in ignorance we forget our connections with Krishna, with our origin, the ocean of devotion. We sometimes forget our connections, but they are there. Pure devotee can see the connection. So wherever he is, he feels that flow of pure devotion. And even if they see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, it's a little different in a sense, because what he did see was also very special. Whether it was the sand dunes in Jagannath Puri or the ocean, seeing the sand dunes as Govardhan Hill, the ocean as the river Jamuna, and so on. Sometimes devotees would see certain objects and would remind them of Krishna, and they would go into various states of ecstasy. So wherever they are, they remind Bhagavad Gita, Krishna. In many places, tries to help us to relate whatever experiences we have in this world in relationship with Krishna. The various manifestations of this world, to see them at least as part of the universal form of the Lord, even if we can't have such a complete personal perspective, but at least the universal form of the Lord, to see them as various aspects of the Lord's universal body, connecting everything to Krishna. The sight of the holy Tulsi tree soothes my soul. Again, another perhaps not less understood or underplayed even aspect. We often hear devotees of different, let's say, faith state the obvious statement that we have to have the association of pure devotees in order to advance in spiritual life of all different stages. And even chanting, one should chant in the presence of a pure devotee. In this way, the whole episode, Radharani out of her calls us mercies, cursing, Tulsi Gopi, who different names are given in different places, but whoever the Gopi was, cursing her and consequently cursing Subal, and Subal cursing Radharani, and so on and so forth. All part of this descent in a sense of divine mercy into this, conditioned world, material world. How they all come into this world to shower their mercy on the fallen souls, giving them these opportunities. Especially Tulsi Devi, giving the conditioned soul, knowingly, unknowingly, she's very merciful like that. We may take it for granted sometimes, but the importance of Tulsi Devi in pure bhakti is very significant. So here we see Bhaktivinoda Thakur, just by seeing the Tulsi plant, his heart becomes feeling soothed. Soothed of what? The blazing fire of material existence. And on the positive side, of course, it's like soothed in the feeling of the presence, of the loving embrace of one's lover or something, and one's heart feels soothed. or when one's with one shelter, one feels soothed, a nice situation. So one feels in the presence of Tulsi Devi, one feels very much sheltered, one feels very much nourished in her presence, as well as relieved from the material disease condition of life, especially in every form, actually. Tulsi Devi gives love of Krishna by her merciful blessings, association. Also, Tulsi Devi can release us from the, especially sex desire, etc. It's described like that. By honoring Shak, oh, there we go, it must be a significant sign. The curtains are opening by honoring Shak. We don't honor Shak very often these days. Little footnote there. The congregational chanting instituted by Lord Chaitanya. No, there isn't a footnote. There used to be a footnote.
It was
Is
for
it?
the second verse.
Huh? Pardon?
It was for previous verses.
Where are we?
We are in the 7.1, and the footnote was concerning the
By honoring Shak. Yeah, it's yeah, there is no footnote, but there's sometimes a footnote. Maybe it's in the next song. It's also, I think, the same thing. Maybe I don't know if Shak is mentioned in the next song.
The footnote is concerning the third verse.
Yeah, congregational chanting instituted by Lord Chaitanya. What's that? Refers to what? The third verse?
Yeah, where it says
No, not the third verse.
Gaura Mara. Or
Fourth
Madhura,
verse.
Madhura, the
Fourth verse. Fourth verse. Yeah. Well, there used to be a footnote on Shak as well.
Oh.
Describe
Another
it.
song that mentions
Huh?
Shak. I said there's another song that mentions Shak.
Yeah. Sarirara Vidyaja Jodendriya Taheko is in that song. Because in the second line, I don't know where that song is there too in this book. Where is it? Can someone find it? What's it called? I don't know. It's also by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's actually a song. I don't know if it's all in here. I don't think it is. It's got a few verses. Here it is. Yeah, it's in this song here. Yeah, there's the footnote at the bottom there, see? Page 46. Where is it mentioned? Shak here. In the second, part 2, verse 2. Hey no Shak ashwadane Krishna prema aise mani. Mother Sachi knows that Lord Chaitanya is greatly satisfied with Shak. Therefore she cooked 20 different kinds of Shak. The vegetable known as Shak is more fortunate than any preparation. For the Lord eats it again and again. Imagine. I want to be Shak. What do you want to be in the spiritual world? I want to be Shak. Krishna will eat me again and again. Not just once. It's not the end of it. It's not like you're dead and gone once you're eaten once. Slightly smiling, the Lord takes his meal, speaking about the glories of Shak to everyone. The Lord says, this Shak is called Achyuta. By eating this Shak, attraction for Krishna develops. At the time of eating, Lord Chaitanya would call different kinds of Shak, different names of Krishna. By eating Patala, Bashtuka and Kala Shak, one gains the association of the Vaishnavas life after life. If one eats Salincha or Helancha Shak, he remains free from disease and gets devotion to Krishna.
Wow.
That's in Chaitanya Bhagavat. So you see the power of honoring Shak. We don't get too much Shack these days is rare. Green leafy vegetables, huh? By honoring Shak, a green leafy vegetable preparation, a dear favorite of Lord Chaitanya, I consider life worthwhile. Whatever Bhakti Vinod obtains that is conducive for the service of Sri Krishna, he accepts every day with the greatest of joy, joyfully performed. Shanti cha, Ramanti cha. The opportunity for service. Favorable service. So we'll try to sing this song. Shura Bhakata. It's a 2-beat. I think. Shura Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajana Nukula Shura Bhajana Nukula Shura Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajana Anukula Shura Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajana Anukula Bhakata Seva Parama Siddhi Premalati Karamula Bhakata Seva Parama Siddhi Premalati Karamula Madhavati Bhakti Janani Jatane Palana Kori Madhavati Bhakti Janani Krishna Basati Boli Parama Are Bari Krishna Basati Boli Parama Are Bari Goramara Yesavastani Karala Brahmana Range Sesabastan Heriboam Panae Bhakata Sange Sesabastana Heriboam Pranaya Bhakata Sange Ganga Bhadya Shunite Mana Abasara Sadajache Ganga Bhadya Shunite Mana Abasara Sadajache Gora Bhita Kirtana Shuni Anande Vidoyo Nache Gora Bhita Kirtana Shuni Ananda Vidoyo Nache Jugalamurti Deki Amora Parama Ananda Hoya Jugalamurti Deki Amora Parama Ananda Hoya Prasada seva karite hoya sakala prapancha jaya.
Prasada seva karite hoya sakala prapancha jaya.
Dedina grihe bhajana dekhi grihe te goloka bhaya. Charana Sidhu Dekhiya Ganga Sukha Sasima Payo.
Charana Sidhu Dekhiya Ganga Sukha Sasima Payo.
Tulsi Dekhi Churaya Prana Madhavatoshan Nijani. Gaura Priya Shaka Sevane Jivana Satakamani.
Gaura Priya Shaka Sevane Jivana Satakamani.
Bhakti Vinoda Krishna Bhajane Anukuta Payaja.
Bhakti Vinoda Krishna Bhajane Anukuta Payaja.
Prati Divase Parama Sukhe Shikara Koroyeta. Shura Bhakta Charana Renu Bhajana Anukula. Bhakta Seva Paramasiddhi Premalati Kara Mula.
Bhakta Seva Paramasiddhi Premalati Kara Mula.
Oh Madhavati Bhakti Janani Jatane Palana Kori.
Madhavati Bhakti
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Yeshuda Bhakta ki jai. Hare Krishna. We're reading text 17, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 3. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Oh, who gave class yesterday?
Myself.
Oh, okay. Jai. This is quite a long verse, and to read it. We're quite late already. I'll just read it through. Madrik Papana Pashupashu Vimokshanaya Muktaya Puri Karunaya Namola Layaya Svangshena Sarvatanu Brinmanasi Patita Patyagvishe Bhagavate Bihate Namaste. Gajendra continuing his prayers. We'll read the word for word. Madrik.
Madhuruk.
Like me.
Like me.
Prapana. Famous word to learn. Prapana. Prapana means? Surrendered. Pashu
Pashu.
means?
Animals.
An animal. Pasha
Pasha.
from entanglement. Vimokshanaya related to liberation. Unto he who releases. Unto he who releases. Muktaya. Unto the Supreme, who is untouched by the contamination of material nature. A long word for word. Buri Karunaya, who are unlimitedly merciful. Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. Alayaya, who are never inattentive or idle for the purpose of my deliverance. Sa Angshena, by your partial feature as Paramatma, Sarva, of all, Tanubrit, the living entities embodied in material nature, Manasi, in the mind, Patita, who are acknowledged, Pratyuk Drishe, as the direct observer of all activities, Bhagavate, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Brihate, who are unlimited, Namaha, I offer my respectful obeisances, Te, unto you. Continuation. Since an animal such as I has surrendered unto you, who are supremely liberated, certainly you will release me from this dangerous position. Indeed, being extremely merciful, you incessantly try to deliver me. By your partial feature as Paramatma, you are situated in the hearts of all embodied beings. You are celebrated as direct, transcendental knowledge, and you are unlimited. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. We do see here the generally speaking, the approach of a neophyte mentality in many ways, of devotee, appealing to the Lord to alleviate their situation in this world as such. More advanced devotees like Queen Kunti, in her prayers a little different, you could say. May these difficulties happen again and again, so I can remember you again and again. Remembering you, it goes on like that. Not just when we're in difficulty, the remembrance, and Prabhupada in one purport talks about the importance of chanting various prayers. I think it's in this section actually. in our lives becoming familiar with chanting the Brahma Samhita or something, some prayers of some kind, so that when danger is there at every step, of course, there's suffering at every step, but particularly at the point of death, Gajendra was faced with that, more or less he was on the verge of death really. At that point he then, by the mercy of Paramatma, he remembered the Lord and started to offer suitable prayers according to his, an animal, as he says here, it's a pashu. And he's offering suitable prayers. You would expect an animal to offer very, elevated prayers not only, but previous lifetime he was devotee and maybe Sakama to Bhakta, a little materially attached, but nonetheless devotee, familiar with chanting various mantras and glorifications of the Lord. So these memories came to him and he was able to chant these various prayers to the Lord, be they in the mood of requesting something of this world more or less, to free him from his predicament, caught in the jaws of the crocodile. The jaws of the crocodile are likened to the Maya, to the material grip that we're in. We're on the jaws of Maya, grip of Maya, like the crocodile. The only release there, we're in a foreign place. The material world is a foreign place to the soul. It's not our own home, so to speak. So very difficult to get strength when we're in a foreign place. We don't have the same resource or the same support as we do in our home. So away from home. So living ends away from home is more difficult to fight. And after a while we get exhausted. We're not getting sufficient replenishment, nourishment, etc. Maya, the material energy, conquers over us. Of course, we're always conquered in one sense, but as far as what it appears like, the material energy conquers over us and we're defeated. Everyone's defeated by the material energy eventually. So Gajendra is, say, typical example. We're appealing to the Lord, the only one who can release us from the shackles of birth and death, the shackles of whatever situation we're in, the suffering which we're in this material world. There is no other, ultimately speaking, no other shelter. So at least he's teaching that we're in a dangerous situation at every moment. So the devotee prays to become released, not necessarily from the direct situation. In a neophyte stage we may of course do that, but rather becoming freed from the attraction, the attachment, the identification with. Prahlad Maharaj in his prayers is not at all afraid of the material energy in one sense, but he's afraid of this becoming overwhelmed or attracted by the material energy. That's the actual Maya. The material energy is not exactly Maya. It's the energy of the Supreme Lord. But it's Maya when we see it as our energy or meant for our enjoyment. So that's the real danger, is when we see the material energy is meant to be for my enjoyment. So the shackles of, or let's say, caught in the grip of the crocodile, means to be in this mentality of seeing ourselves, as Gajendra went into the water with the intention of enjoying sexual relationships with many she-elephants. And he constantly got caught in the grip of Maya, illusion. So now he's praying to get out of that grip. So there was at least that much we should be able to contemplate. In the purport, Prabhupada writes, the word Priyate Namaste have been explained by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Priyate Shri Krishnaya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna. There are many tattvas, such as Vishnu tattva, Jiva tattva, Shakti tattva, many truths describing these various forms or energies, etc. But above everything is the Vishnu tattva, which is all-pervading. This all-pervading feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is explained in the Bhagavad Gita 10:42, wherein the Lord says, Atava buhunaitena kim gyatena tavajuna vishtabhyayam idam kritsnam ekang shena thito jagat. After describing this 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the opulences of the Lord, describing his various manifestations or presence in various objects, particularly significant objects or powerful presentations in this world, the sun or various creatures or various powerful abilities of living entities, and how that's actually him, although it appears to be manifesting through something separate from him, but it's actually the Lord himself. Energy is his expansions manifesting through that person. In this sense, sometimes Prabhupada would use the term Shakti-Avesh. We normally use the word Shakti-Avesh, empowered incarnation of the Lord, some living entity who is like an ambassador, a representative of the Lord, empowered to do the work of the Lord. But actually, every living entity is in certain ways doing the work of the Lord in this world, enacting various forms of karma. We have no ability on our own to perform these activities. I mean, flying in the sky, swimming under the water, human body, we may not be able to do that, but certain species of life can. The ability in man, our intelligence to analyze certain circumstances, etc., rationality, all these various features we take for granted are nothing but the empowerment of the Lord, according to one's desire and karma. Different living entities have a different kind of empowerment, sometimes perverted, always perverted by the modes of nature, of course, sometimes goodness, passion, and ignorance, one or more, or combined, or whatever. But nonetheless, it comes from Krishna, as light comes from the sun, even if it manifests in the form of a battery torch, or whatever it may be. Ultimately, that is that object has got that Shakti, that power from the sun, which ultimately comes from Krishna. So to see everything in relationship with Krishna, see Krishna's presence in everything. Not that we take claim to our achievements. I did this, I did that. It's the empowerment of the Lord, the energy of the Lord working through us. And sometimes favorable, sometimes it appears to us unfavorable, but it's the energy of the Lord working through us. Or let's say, we're experiencing, so much through us, but we're experiencing the energy of the Lord and taking claim that it's my energy, it's mine, it's my body, it's my this, it's my that. This mentality of me and mine is very powerful. But it's actually everything belongs to Krishna. Everything rests on Krishna. Everything comes from Krishna. Everything is meant to be used for Krishna's pleasure. But we see it otherwise, therefore, thus we come under, this is the danger we just heard about, we come under the influences of Maya, illusion, to think it's that which is not. It's not mine. It belongs to Krishna. So 10th chapter, particularly 11th chapter, in a different way, the same basic philosophy or understanding is there. And summation of the 10th chapter is given herein. What need is there, Krishna says, O Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support the entire universe. With a single fragment. It's not like, Krishna's putting all of his energy, all of his steam into it, we sometimes have to put all of our energy in to lift up a box, yesterday, lifting up boxes weighing 20, 30 kilos. You have to put all your energy into it. But it's not like that. You're tired. Krishna must be really tired, maintaining the universe, That sounds pretty tiring. It sure would be. Sometimes we see pictures of Atlas holding up the globe, a big, strong, muscular fellow. It's not like Krishna is going to, the gym to get muscles to, lift up the earth or whatever it is, sustain the universe. Just by his will alone, You can create innumerable universes. Everything is based upon will, ultimately. Our coming into this universe is based on will, and our release is based on will. Our own as one, and specifically Krishna's. The Lord, Krishna says, the entire material world is maintained by his partial representation as Paramatma. The Lord enters every universe as Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, Garbha, like the womb. Huh? He's lying in the womb of the universe. Garbhodakshayi Vishnu then expands himself as Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, in the ocean of milk, that form, who also appears to enter the hearts of all living entities and even enter the atoms. He's in every atom. It's inconceivable. Andantarasta paramano chayantarastam. It's like the atom. We can't even see it, but we hear there. So much power, huh, in an atom. They have the atom bomb. Of course, it triggers off a reaction of atoms in various ways, but it's caused by atom, and the splitting of the atom. Huh? They sort of split the atom, and you have this incredible release of energy. Such power within the atom, as that power comes from the super soul. As confirmed, thus within every atom the Supreme Lord exists in his Vishnu feature as Paramatma, but all the Vishnu tattvas emanate from Krishna. Everything comes from Krishna. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Aham Adirhi Devanam. Krishna is the Adi, or beginning of the Devas of this world. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Therefore he is described here as Bhagavate Brihate. Everyone is Bhagavan, to some extent at least. Everyone possesses opulence of some kind. But Krishna is Brihan Bhagavan, the possessor of unlimited opulence. Our opulences are sometimes, we get a little proud, but they're actually very limited. Very limited. Ishvara Parama Krishna. He's the supreme origin of everything. Here, Ishvara means supreme controller. In the same verse, of course, Adi is Govindam. Where does it go? Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. Anadir, Adir Govinda. He's the origin of everything. Huh? And he's also Sarvakarma, Karma, cause of all causes. Everything emanates from him. Everything comes from him. Source of everything. Aham sarvasya prabhava. Krishna says in Bhagavad, I am the source of both the material and spiritual worlds. Even Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara come from Krishna. Even their ability, their potency, Lord Brahma. Sometimes he's described as also Bhagavan, or supreme person, because the ability to create, we have that teeny propensity within us, but to the extent that Brahma creates is beyond the capacity of a jiva. It's the empowered form of the Lord who enters into Brahma to activate the creation of the universe. It's a form of Krishna, potent form, the form of his energy or his energetic expansion. Matak paratalam nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. Everything. There is no truth superior to me. Krishna is the supreme truth. There is no personality superior to Krishna. Therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Bhagavate Brihate means unto Sri Krishna. Oh, I thought that was the end of the purport. There's another continuation of the purport. In this material world, everyone is a pashu. Don't get too proud of your whatever people call you. You're nothing but a pashu. It's crazy. I don't know how it came up. Maybe I saw a dog yesterday or something. It was an old song, perhaps from the 50s. Something about, I think I've forgotten it now, but it came to my mind yesterday. I'm I'm no different than a hound dog or something. Somebody, you remember that Krishna Kripa?
No,
Some American.
before my time.
Yeah, some Elvis Presley time, I think. Yeah, hound dog. I know better than a hound dog. That wasn't exactly, but it's something like that. But it came suddenly popped out of my mind yesterday. Well, it's a good reminder in one sense. As Prabhupada says here, everyone in this world is a pashu, an animal, because of the body concept of life. Anyone who has that body concept of life is no better than animal. And that verse is mentioned here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There's a famous verse. Yasyatmi buddhi kunapeti taduke svadikala tradishu boma hejadi yatirta buddhi shalileda kaichit janesha bige sevako karaha. A human being who identifies the body made of three elements as the self, who considers the byproducts of the body to be his kinsmen, who considers the land of his birth to be worshipable, and who goes to a holy place of pilgrimage simply to bathe, rather than to meet men of transcendental knowledge there, is to be considered like a cow or an ass. In other words, like an animal. You might think, oh, a cow, that's nice. No, but it means, okay, in one sense, but a cow is a dumb animal nonetheless. It doesn't have much, awareness in that sense. Of course, it's very special in another sense. But in a sense of consciousness, it's nonetheless an animal. And any human being who goes, they also go to the river Jamuna, Ganga there, of course, it's a different thing altogether in one sense. They're on their way back to Godhead. But from the point of view of the present situation, they're also bathing there, the buffaloes are bathing there, everyone's bathing there. But that's not the real, you don't see them generally speaking, occasionally but very rarely, searching out a Mahabhagavat to hear from a Mahabhagavat about Krishna's pastimes or whatever it may be, or about Krishna Katha. So that's the real essence of the temple, is the essence of their lives, in fact. It's not just to, do things, but to actually transformation of our consciousness takes a long time if we don't have the opportunity to hear. It may go on. Unknowing service is inconceivable also, and everything's possible, but generally it takes a long time. Mechanical devotional service may take a long time. But with this, transformation takes place when the eagerness to hear, this lolyam, tatra lolyam, api mulyam ekada, when one has this one-pointed eagerness. In fact, this is the price. It said mulya is a price. The only price. This is the price for pure devotional service. Is this tattalolyam, this strong eagerness, this greed for hearing about Krishna, particularly hearing Krishna Katha. Is the price. So that can be found only where you can't get that anywhere and ever. Generally you go to most temples, you don't get it. I'm not talking of ISKCON specifically here, but in general, churches, temples, mosques, you might get something, but most of the time nothing is going on. Most of the time, maybe there's 1 hour a week where there's a sermon, and even there it's very mixed, if at all, related to God. It's very indirect, sometimes even impersonal. One doesn't get that opportunity to develop that burning attraction for hearing Krishna Katha. Because generally the speaker doesn't have it. Neither the subject which he's talking about evokes it. And the environment evokes some reverential feelings maybe, but not the same as this greed for hearing Krishna Katha is not there. So that's welcome in the presence of those who have it. And the holy places are generally there. One finds such persons are there, but it could be anywhere. And Prabhupada wanted our temples to also be like that. 24-hour kirtan, Bhagavad recital, whatever it is, but Krishna Katha going on, not Gramya Katha. Too much Gramya Katha. We all know Gramya Katha. What's Gramya Katha?
Village talk.
Pardon?
It's village talk.
Village talk. We hear Sarsel's village, talking about Sarsel village. Village talk. Mundane talk. Huh? We were talking about the weather, this and that. Yeah, to a certain extent these things are required, but that's not the objective. It's just to facilitate Krishna Katha. So Krishna Katha is the essence, but otherwise, animal. Practically everyone, therefore, is Pashu. And everyone's attacked by the crocodile of material existence. Not only the king of the elephants, but every one of us is being attacked by the crocodile and is suffering the consequences of identifying with this body and thinking this is mine and so on. Only Krishna can deliver us from this material existence. Indeed, he is always trying to deliver us. He's always putting out the rope, but we don't take it. Or as Prabhupada says sometimes, you throw down the rope in the well, help, help. And then we chant back, help me to hold on to the rope. I say, no, you have to hold it yourself. That much you have to do. You have to take it. But no, we want someone to do it for us. We've been given devotional service, and then we kind of expect someone else to make it work, or do it for us, you know. We have to take responsibility. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Videsha Arjuna Tishtati. He is within our hearts and is not at all inattentive. His only aim is to deliver us from material life. It is not that he becomes attentive to us only when we offer prayers to him. That's another interesting aspect of Krishna. He's always attentive. He may be, but he's reciprocating accordingly. If we don't want him, he's not going to show himself. Although he's still trying, from his angle, to wake us up, to give us different experiences so that we may start to realize, what the heck am I doing here? Or he gives us the opportunity to associate with devotee we walk by as if they're, unwanted association sometimes. Or Krishna Katha is going on and we look on it, we go on our mobile or something. And we don't have that understanding of that, it's still the darkness of ignorance. But still the Lord is always trying to give us that chance to wake up, as are the pure devotees of the Lord. He's never ever lazy in regard to our deliverance. Therefore the verse says, Buri Karunaya Namo Lalaya. It is the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord that he always tries to bring us back home, back to God. It's just like a parent always trying to bring his son out of the Hare Krishna movement.
Is written there?
No. Not every parent's like that, but many are. They're always hoping that you leave this crazy place, this crazy association, and come back to normal. And come home, son. Just come home, will you? Or daughter. Come home. What are you doing here? This is crazy. Come home. Tries to make us liberated. But although he is constantly trying, we refuse to accept his instructions. Sarvadharmam parityagya mamikam sharanam vraja. Nonetheless, he's trying to get us to come back to Vraj. Surrender. Give up this material foolishness, taking shelter of these false reflections, imitation dhams. Instead of holy dhams, they're dam holes. Nonetheless, he has not become angry. He keeps trying. Therefore, he is described here as Buri Karunaya, unlimitedly merciful in delivering us from this miserable. There's nothing miserable about this material. What you're talking about is wonderful. I think you've got a problem. You're missing out on life, son. Sometimes they say that to the devotees. You're just wasting your time, you don't have to enjoy yourself, man. It's great around here. Fantastic. And I don't know if you ever meet people like that, but you meet them especially in the Gold Coast in Australia. It's like they think it's like paradise. Beautiful beaches, warm, always warm weather, very opulent. Everything's there, nice warm ocean, surf, nice surf. They've even got nets to keep the sharks out. Sometimes the sharks get in and it's not so nice, but usually they keep them outside of the beach area. You can peacefully go into the water and, surf on the water or just enjoy the waves crashing on you. And then roll in the warm sun on the golden sands. I know your mouths are watering, you're dreaming of there now. And you go up to some guy, this young, suntanned, muscular guy with his surfboard in one hand and a beautiful chick in the other. You say, excuse me, we have these books about spiritual life. This world is so much suffering in this world. They look at you like you're crazy, What's wrong, man? Can you give a donation? I'll give you a donation. Go and enjoy yourself in the pub over there. Go and have a drink. Enjoy yourself. They just come out the bar, and it's like, phew. They don't see it quite like that until the shark attacks them, or they get arrested, or someone smashes them on the head with a bottle, or they lose all their money in the casino, or whatever it is. They might get a temporary wake-up call, but it doesn't last long. So people are in illusion, and that's a very, very, very dangerous situation, because you think it's great and become very attached to it. Therefore, he is described unlimitedly merciful in delivering us from this miserable material condition of life and taking us back home, back to Godhead. But like worms in stool, we don't want to get out of here. We don't want to get out. We want to bind ourselves more and more in this world in the way we would like to be bound. We have our desires. Please bind me this way. No, bind me that way. I want to be bound that way. That binding is nicer than that binding. That prison cell is nicer than that one. Yes. Even in hell, Prabhupada says, Krishna, Maya, she makes it so that we think, it's not so bad. It's not so bad after all. My boiling ghee is better than his boiling ghee. Yes, I'm better off than they are. There's a comparison goes on. It's all relative. But Krishna wants to take us to the absolute realm, the relative one, where everything has a beginning and an end, where everything is, so much lamentation, so much stress, so much anxiety, so much fear, and so unavoidable consequences of being in this world. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Go home, back to Godhead. Shura Bhakata Sharana Renu Bhajana Anukula. Nice song. The meaning is very nice. Hare Krishna. Finito. Okay, any commentaries?
The best thing to do on Ekadashi is to hear the pastimes of Govinda and chant the holy name.
That's nectar of devotion.
Chapter 7.
Yes. And what do we do? Sleep? I do. Chant extra rounds. Hear more. Perform Sankirtan Yajna. Whatever. Just keep engaged. These various festivals, especially if emphasis is given, devotees take advantage, but these days particularly are for those who are not engaged fully in devotional service. Devotees take advantage to increase. It's also very wonderful, important. But particularly those who are not, their eating habits are sometimes not at all good. And their behavior patterns are not very regulated, spiritually speaking, at all. And they're mostly engaged in Gramya Katha. And so Ekadashi has many factors to it. Prabhupada also says there should be 2 compulsory fast days a month, referring to Ekadashi. from the point of view of health and economy. In some ways, he doesn't even mention spirituality, but even from the material point of view, it's beneficial to fast on Ekadashi. Saves money, and it's good for the health. Because we may not fast entirely because we're engaged in different acts of service. We may not probably didn't overemphasize it, but definitely fasting from grains and beans and this and that. But for the probably uses the word karmis is especially important. Even one conversational letter, I can't remember, Prabhupada said, Kartik is for karmis. We don't think of it like that at all. But it's especially for those who are not engaged. The devotees should already be performing Kartik Vrata 365 days a year. Fully engaged in devotional service, hearing, chanting, remembering, etc., etc. Already doing that. Worshipping the Lord, offering lamps. Everything's going on all year round. Varieties of devotional service. Refraining from eating meat. Many of these things that help people who are meat eaters also to refrain. Just like in Christianity, Friday was no meat day. Still today, many people don't know why, but they don't eat meat on Friday. It's kind of tradition in many Western countries. You might eat fish, but not meat. Something is there coming from some, tradition. Jesus, something on Friday, fed people with fish, or I don't know what he did, something like that, or didn't do. But those things are there to help us to become a little bit self-controlled, a little bit restrained, a little bit thoughtful, conscious, etc. So Kadashi especially, the devotees, it's not just about fasting, it's that which is favorable to evoke remembrance of Govinda, Krishna. Anything else?
It reminds me, there's like one Prabhupada Leela where Tamal Krishna Goswami is like, he's talking about how that people would fast from water and stay up all night, and he's saying it must be hard to do preaching work, if people do that. And Prabhupada said, oh, that's not for the preachers, that's just for the people who sit around the temple.
Tamal Krishna said that?
No, the Tamal Krishna Goswami asked that question. It seems like it'd be difficult for
I didn't hear that.
if you were like fasting all day and staying up all night. And Prabhupada said, that's not for the preachers, it's just for the people sitting around
the temple. Well, interesting you should say that, because back in the 90s, there was a fad, and I don't know if you were a part of that. There was a fad to do this all night, 24-hour nirjal, and all night. They're up all night tonight, that would be. Chanting and hearing. Sounds great. And, I was in Malaysia at that time. We weren't doing it over there, 80s or 90s, late 80s, early 90s, I think it was. So, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj was the main proponent of this. He gave it up after a while, but he was the main proponent. And I remember I visited a temple which was, temple president was one of his disciples, and they were doing this, and it was like, came to the morning program after Mangalarti, there was nobody there. Everybody was knocked out, They took their cold milk to break, sweet cold milk mixed with water to break the fast, and then pooed, and then collapsed on the beds. There's nobody there for class. Now what's the use of this? And then next day, everyone was too tired and hungry to do any service. The next day also, not just on the Ekadashi, the next day also. And it just isn't the program for those who are, especially preachers, those who are trying to represent the mission of Lord Chaitanya in that sense. But sometimes, usually the idea is like Prabhupada said on Kartik when Guru Das asked Prabhupada, is there some special vrata that we should do in Kartik? Prabhupada said, yes, there is. You should give up all eating and sleeping and just chant 24 hours a day. And then Gurudas then started going, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Prabhupada said, that is another madness. You cannot do it. But for those who are elevated, yes. But you're meant to carry on with your services as if nothing happened. Not that, you have an excuse. Oh, I fasted all day yesterday. I didn't sleep all night. No. If you didn't sleep all night, great. It means you can do more service in the day. More time. So it's not that you sleep all day. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Jai Srila Prabhupada. So, what's the plan today? Where are you going today? Châtelet?
Yeah.
What time?